I made a lot of mistakes in my 20s. By the time I turned 30, I told myself I want to make a video where I talk about all the different things that went wrong, some of my regrets, and the most important lessons I learned during my 20s. I do struggle a lot with my age sometimes. I mean, a lot of my friends are a lot younger than me. And being 30 years old, sometimes I feel like an old fart. But over the last decade, I've grown so much. I've learned so much about life. I've learned a lot about making money. I've also learned a lot about, finding happiness. And yeah, by you guys watching this video, I hope it inspires you. I hope it teaches you something. And hopefully my mistakes won't go to waste. I know that a lot of you guys watching this video, if you're in your 20s, you're struggling with the same things that I went through. So yeah, hopefully this can help you guys out. So the first thing is you want to listen to yourself and not your parents as much. I know that when I grew up, I was really a people pleaser, especially when it came to my parents. If my parents wanted me to do something, then I would do it. I wouldn't really question it. And if my own personal desires did not intersect with theirs, then I always took their route because, like I said, I'm a people pleaser. I think that really backfired for me, and I feel like a lot of you guys watching this video, you do a lot to appease your parents. And honestly, I think a lot of you guys are doing too much. You're not listening to yourself, you're listening more to others. For me, my parents wanted me to graduate from college, get a degree in a respectable field, and pursue a traditional 9-to-5 career that, they are so familiar with. There's literally nothing in the cards about entrepreneurship or business, so I actually didn't even think that it was possible to become an entrepreneur, and that's just because I listened too closely to my parents who have really great 9-to-5 jobs, but don't really have experience with, entrepreneurship. A lot of you guys will grow up to want to live a life that's a lot different than that of your parents, and so if you think about it, it doesn't really make sense for you to always listen to your parents if they don't have the exact life that you want. And when we push our own thoughts, desires, and passions away, I think that allows us to build a lot of resentment that is not necessary. So yeah, appeasing your parents, listening to them, it's a good short-term thing, but in the long term, you're gonna grow resentment. And yeah, they might not always know what the best thing for you is. And I think that's something that a lot of people in their 20s, don't think about. So yeah, that's definitely one thing that I wish I did more of, listen to myself rather than listen to others and my parents. The second thing that really held me back in my 20s was having too many limiting beliefs. And that had a big impact on my confidence. So I think a lot of you guys watching this, you probably overthink things. You probably have a lot of limiting beliefs that are making things hard for you. And all that really comes together and has a negative impact on your confidence. Confidence is so important. I think a lot of people in their 20s struggle with confidence because they always think that other people are looking at them. They're always comparing themselves to other people. And yeah, I definitely experienced that. But the truth is that doesn't do anything for you. It's all negative and you deserve to have more confidence. So for me, when I graduated from UCLA, I was really not confident because I compared myself to my peers, all of whom got really great jobs at accounting firms, making six figures, all that stuff. I was definitely scraping by. I barely had any money. And when you compare yourself to other people that are in a different place of their journey, that's really, really bad. And so if I could go back to my early 20s, I'd basically tell myself, hey, Charlie, you're in a different place of your journey versus your friends. They all want the get a good degree, get a job straight out of college, and work a 9-to-5 job. But Charlie, you didn't do that. So you can't really compare yourself to them. Do not compare your income. Don't compare your career path, and don't compare your so-called accomplishments. Just know that if you keep going at what you're trying to do, you'll find out what your passions are, and maybe at some point in the future, you'll even exceed your friends in all those different categories. Most of you guys probably think that every time you go outside, there's some type of spotlight that's pointed directly at you, and everyone is sort of judging what you're doing. I definitely felt that way in my 20s. I even still struggle with that right now, but every single year as I'm growing older and older, that spotlight gets dimmer and dimmer until eventually someday I'm gonna realize that there was no spotlight in the first place. And the earlier you realize there's no spotlight, the more things you can do without being scared of what the outcomes are, without being scared of any judgment from others, and the higher your confidence is going to be. On the topic of regrets in my 20s, one thing I really wish I had was the Wealthfront cash account, which currently pays 4.30% APY. So yeah, I appreciate Wealthfront for sponsoring this portion of the video so that I can spread the word. Anyways, let's face it, you guys, you're getting crushed by inflation. The easiest thing you can do to mitigate that is by making sure your money isn't in a traditional savings account losing value every single day. So just a little background, Wealthfront is an app I've been using for the last almost 3 years. It's one of the best ways to invest long-term through their diversified automated investing accounts. In addition to the cash account giving you 4.30% APY, you can move money to your Wealthfront investment account almost instantly during market hours and easily start investing. I can confidently recommend Wealthfront because they're FDIC insured up to $3 million through the partner banks, which is 12 times greater than the standard FDIC insurance coverage of $250K. And you can access and transfer your money at any time. Anyways, I encourage you guys to take a minute to check them out using the link down below because again, 4.3% APY APY on your cash is crazy good, especially when you don't need to do any work. Again, I'll put a link down below to Wealthfront, and that is going to allow you to open up your 4.3% APY cash account with them today in just a few minutes. And now back to the video. The next thing I tell myself is that you need to get comfortable being single. Now, I've been in relationships ever since I was 18 years old. My first relationship was about 5 years long, so that lasted until I was about, I think, 23 or 24. And after that, I got into another long-term relationship. I think it's been about 6 years now. And so I didn't really get to experience much of my 20s being single. For me, I'm just more comfortable having a partner I can rely on. It's definitely where my comfort zone lies. And so I think that's one reason why I was so scared to be alone. I basically tell myself, Charlie, you don't need to jump straight into another relationship. You need to embrace being single and see how that is going to help you grow as a person. There's really no rush to jump into a relationship. You don't need to get married. You don't need to have kids. You're young and you need to experience life without a partner. If you guys are in a long-term relationship, then that's awesome. But if you're single, then really, you guys, there's no rush to jump into anything. In fact, I think that your life is probably going to be more fun. You'll do more activities. You'll get out of your comfort zone more if you stay single. So don't tie your worth to the presence of having a partner. Go out, live your life, don't settle down. And with that brings more opportunities, discomfort, as well as self-growth. The next thing I tell myself is get away from your college town. If you're about to graduate college or you've recently graduated, my advice is don't stay in that same city. By staying in that same city, you're basically associating yourself with other college students, even though you've already graduated. And I really think that your growth is going to be limited. Rather, move somewhere else. It doesn't need to be that far, but I'd recommend maybe at least 20, 30 miles away and start over there, right? Build a new identity. You're no longer a college student. And if you do stay in the same city as where your college is, you'll have the same friends. You'll still be in that student mindset. And most of all, you're just not really exploring the world. And so for me, I stayed in West LA after graduating college for 5 years. And that's definitely one of my big regrets because even though I made a lot of really great friends in the area, I was always so close to UCLA that I think subconsciously, I was still sort of like a college student. That definitely held me back. So if you are in a similar situation, I really encourage you guys, try moving somewhere else. The next thing I'd tell myself is, Charlie, you're spending way too much time on social media. You guys probably already know how much time you're spending on your phone, on Instagram, TikTok, and other platforms like that. And if you really stop and think about it, that's actually a huge chunk of your life. Social media places too many false expectations on us. We always think that we're behind because we're comparing our everyday lives with the highlight reels of people that we don't actually care about. And overall, we just need to spend less time on our phones and more time connected with other humans in person, as well as exploring the world. Social media is a thing that's so comfortable to do, but with that comfort means you're wasting so much time. You're not actually going out and doing things that are actually fun. And so yeah, if I could go back into my 20s, one thing I would do is use an app like ClearSpace. This is the only app that's really worked for me to reduce my screen time and just embrace being present and not always on your phone. The next thing I tell myself is that you actually don't know anything. I want you guys to think about how much new information and experiences you're learning every single day. Now that I'm 30 and I actually start subtracting what I learn every single day all the way until I'm 20 years old, it makes sense that I actually didn't really know anything. And I think the quicker you realize this, the more you can actually embrace reading, learning, and not thinking that you've already peaked in knowledge, because trust me, you haven't. If I had embraced this mindset when I was in my 20s, I would have started reading way earlier. I would have started paying attention to people doing better than me, and both my personal as well as business growth would have progressed way, way faster. And so the faster you think, okay, I don't know things, I can be a student for the rest of my life, the more you'll actually learn, the more different things you'll absorb. And guys, the world is so vast. No one knows everything. I honestly think I probably know 0.1% of things out there. And so yeah, I still feel like I know nothing. I'm 30, I'm 10 years older than I was when I was 20 years old. I probably doubled my knowledge, but still in the grand scheme of things, I really don't know anything. So please take that, run with it. That's gonna make you not cocky. That's gonna make you actually want to learn things. Don't be dead set in your opinions. Always be open to what other people are saying. And yeah, that'll just make you have a more fulfilling and growth-oriented life. The next big regret is not taking care of my body. And if you guys saw pictures of me, I looked super fit. I was working out almost every single day, but I was really neglecting a lot of things that eventually caught up to me. So when you only lift to look good and get muscles, you're probably gonna be neglecting a lot of different things. And yeah, it's all okay when you're in your 20s, your body is very adaptable, but that's definitely gonna catch up to you once you turn 30. I used to lift super heavy. I used to deadlift a lot. My form was not always that great. I didn't prioritize stretching. I didn't prioritize cardio. And so by the time time I reached my mid to late 20s, I actually experienced a lot of pain with my body, and that all could have been preventable. Guys, we're talking about pain that is so bad where I would wake up in the middle of the night and be crying. And so if I could go back to my 20s, I'd tell myself, you don't need to lift the biggest weight possible. You need to lift for health, and you need to stretch, and you need to warm up. Basically, you have to be more well-rounded as an athlete rather than just focus on weightlifting and things like that. I'd also tell myself, Charlie, wear more sunscreen. You're gonna start aging, you're not gonna like it, and sunscreen is literally one of the best things and easiest things you guys can do to reduce how fast you age. Just don't think that your body is invincible and that you can do a bunch of dumb shit right now and get away with it. Yes, you can get away for it in your 20s, but that shit is gonna catch up to you later on, I guarantee it. The next thing I tell myself is that your 20s are going to fly by. Seriously, I cannot believe that I'm 30 years already. I still remember the day I graduated college when I was 21, and literally, you guys, time just went by so fast. Every single 60-year-old billionaire out there would trade all their money to be 20 years old again. So if you're in your 20s, just be grateful that you're young. You still have so much life to live. Even for me, I'm only 30 years old, but I would still trade all my money to be 20 years old again. Your time is that valuable. It's the only thing that you really can't get more of. And so yeah, cherish it, take advantage of it, and spend your 20s doing things that empower you and fulfill you. And the last thing I tell myself is that money does not equal happiness. I used to think that money was the secret elixir to life, and that if I had more money, I'd be way, way happier. But the thing is that I was just as happy completely broke in my early 20s versus right now being a multimillionaire in my 30s. As long as you have your basic necessities covered, then the amount of money in your bank account really doesn't affect your happiness that much. In fact, I think that having too much money can actually be pretty detrimental. Your baseline dopamine goes from here to here since you're able to do nice things all the time. And when that happens, then this becomes the new this. For example, the best feeling I've ever had buying a car was the first new car that I leased for myself. It was a BMW 330i, and the euphoria that I felt driving that car home was more than me getting my Ferrari, Range Rover, i8 combined. It's actually pretty sad because I feel like my baseline dopamine has gone up, and so things that used to be super amazing are no longer amazing. And yeah, that definitely is one big regret I have with chasing money. So yeah, there's no need to chase money, you guys, just chase happiness. Anyways, if you guys stayed this long in the video, I want to say thank you. I hope that my stories inspired you or gave you a new perspective on your life. If you're in your 20s, you're in this chapter of your life that so many people would die to go back to. And so yeah, it's really your responsibility to take advantage of this chapter, live every day to the best, make mistakes, fail at different things, get out of your comfort zone, embrace some of the lessons and mindsets I talked about in this video. And yeah, just the fact that you guys are watching content like this puts you ahead of the pack. And yeah, for that, I'm super proud of you guys. Anyways, thank you guys so much for your time. And if you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to hit that like button and also subscribe for more content just like this. I make a ton of videos about personal finance, investing, and entrepreneurship. And yeah, my whole goal is to help you guys live financially successful lives doing the things that you want to do. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.